Throughout history, human beings have trusted metals like gold and silver as eternal stores of value. From the kingdoms of Egypt to the Roman Empire, from the Ottoman sultans to the modern Federal Reserve, these metals were seen as symbols of stability in a chaotic world. People still cling to the belief that if all else fails, my gold and silver will protect me. But what if 99.9% of people are destined to lose their precious metals, not through theft or war alone, but through a deeper force, the cycles of money, power, and history? This is not a wild conspiracy. This is a warning that echoes from one of the greatest financial thinkers of our time, Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates. His studies of 500 years of financial history reveal a brutal truth. No store of wealth is safe forever. So what comes next? Why might your gold and silver not save you? And what shocking shift could redefine wealth in the years ahead? Journey step by step into Dalio's world of history, economics, and brutal reality. Gold and silver are more than metals. They're myths, stories, and symbols of survival. In the Great Depression of the 1930s, American families hoarded gold coins. As their banks collapsed during hyperinflation in Zimbabwe and Venezuela, citizens turned to gold chains and silver spoons when their currencies became worthless. Across centuries, emperors and rulers minted coins to project power. Gold is seen as eternal, while silver, though less glamorous, has always been the poor man's gold. Both metals carry the aura of safety. But Ray Dalio argues, what feels safe may not actually be safe when the cycle shifts. Dalio's central thesis is simple. Empires rise and fall in predictable cycles of around 75 to 100 years. A strong empire emerges, like America after World War II. B, it builds wealth, trade, innovation, and a powerful military. C, over time, it creates too much debt. D, the empire loses productivity. Corruption grows and inequality widens. E, trust. In the currency collapses, people flee to safe assets like gold, silver, or foreign currencies. A new order replaces the old one. In this shift, those holding old forms of wealth like gold and silver in the wrong place or under the wrong laws often lose everything. After World War II, America became the world's empire. The US dollar replaced the British pound as the world's reserve currency. Gold was pegged at $35 per ounce. But by 1971, America's debts from the Vietnam War and social spending were too high. President Nixon broke the gold standard, declaring the US dollar would no longer be backed by gold. Overnight, people who trusted the old system were betrayed. Here's the shocking lesson. If you had gold coins hidden, you survived. If you trusted the government's promise of gold-backed dollars, you lost. Dalio reminds us, laws can change, rules can shift, and 99.9% of people won't see it coming. So how exactly will people lose their metals? Dalio points to 6 dangers. A government confiscation in 1933. President Roosevelt banned private ownership of gold, and the U.S. citizens were forced to hand over their coins at a fixed price or risk prison. Dalio warns this could happen again in times of crisis. B, heavy taxation. Governments may not seize your metals outright, but could impose 90% windfall taxes on profits. C, legal restrictions. History shows that states can ban gold trade, outlaw silver coins, or even criminalize barter. D, market manipulation. Central banks and financial giants can dump paper contracts to suppress prices, making your gold appear worthless while they buy it cheap. E, storage risks. 99% of gold today is held in banks, vaults, or ETFs. In a collapse, access could be frozen. F, technological shift. The world may leap into digital money, leaving gold and silver sidelined, just as silver was abandoned as a monetary standard in the 20th century. Dalio's point is simple. The average person will not outsmart the system. They will be caught, trapped, and stripped of wealth in the storm. Ray Dalio emphasizes, history is not random, it rhymes. The cycle we are in now echoes the collapse of past empires. For forces define what comes next. A, the decline of the U.S. dollar. With $34 trillion in debt and climbing, America risks losing its currency dominance. China, Russia, and other nations are forming alliances to bypass the dollar. B, the rise of digital currencies. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, will allow governments to control every transaction. Once these roll out, private ownership of physical gold and silver may be sidelined or outlawed. See global conflict and realignment. Dalio warns the late stages of empire often bring war. Wealth moves violently, and metals may be seized for national security. D. The new store of wealth. Dalio doesn't say gold is useless. He owns it himself, but he warns that in the next system, diversification is survival. This means a mix of gold, digital assets, productive land, and most importantly, knowledge. The shocking truth is that gold and silver may not vanish, but 99.9% of ordinary people will not be positioned correctly to benefit from them. Only a tiny fraction, those who study history, protect their assets wisely, and think globally, will survive the reset. Lessons from history prove this. In Nazi Germany, families who hid their gold under floorboards often lost it when their homes were raided. But those who converted some wealth into foreign currencies, art, or even education managed to escape. In ancient Rome, when silver coins were debased with copper, citizens clung to the illusion of wealth until their savings were worthless. Only traders and farmers holding real goods survived. In modern Argentina, middle-class savers hoarded U.S. dollars instead of gold and survived repeated peso collapses. Dalio's message is consistent. Adaptation, not tradition, ensures survival. So what can you do now? Dalio is not a prophet of doom, but a realist. He suggests 5 steps. Globally, don't keep all wealth in one country, currency, or asset. Behold some gold, but don't rely on it. Treat it as insurance, not salvation. C. Understand debt cycles. Study history so you know when storms are coming. D. Develop skills and networks. In crises, human capital often outlasts financial capital. E. Be ready for a digital future, whether we like it or not. CBDCs and blockchain-based systems will shape the next era. The brutal truth is clear. The phrase 99.9% will lose their gold and silver is not a fantasy, is history repeating itself. Every empire has seen its citizens betrayed, its currencies collapse, and its trusted stores of wealth destroyed. Ray Dalio's voice is not one of despair, but of preparation. The shocking truth is that most people will cling to illusions until it's too late, but a few, those who read, learn, and act, will pass through the storm with their wealth, freedom, and dignity intact. So ask yourself, are you prepared for the cycle to turn? Do you believe gold and silver will protect you, or do you understand that survival requires more than shiny metal? History is whispering the answers. Will you listen before it shouts?